Hey guys, we are back at Covenant, and today we are building a pair of homes in between the arena we built in the previous video and the toll booth from a couple videos ago. Now I'm really happy with the way this one turned out. Nice and junky like I normally build, and it fits in really well with the pack settlement we have going here at Covenant, which is coming along pretty nicely, by the way. Maybe one more video and we should be able to hop on the interior. I'll save a little bit of the exterior as a surprise for the final tour. But with that said, let's get started, shall we? So we'll go ahead and start things off with a shipping container, and this comes from a mod called Box Houses. I'll go ahead and link all the mods I use in a Google Doc in the description. But we just want to place the floors down kind of at an off angle there. Just helps enhance the junky feel of the place. And then we'll go ahead and snap the walls on once we have the floor put down. With the shipping container in place, we can go ahead and take some of these wooden walls and just place them underneath the floor just to support the part of the container that isn't making contact with the ground. And while we're at it, we'll go ahead and throw some support on the other side as well. And we want to leave part of this open so we have a way to get underneath the container for later. Now to close off this other side, we're going to go ahead and construct our own wall using some shack columns and some wooden planks. Now for the column, we want to go ahead and make sure it's making contact with the shipping container, but we don't want it to clip all the way through. And then we can take this shack wall here, and we want to glitch that into the shack column. And then we're going to go ahead and lower it down, just so we can create a platform that comes off of it. And now to create the platform, we're going to go ahead and use some of these quarter floorboards, and we're just going to go ahead and glitch them into the shack wall we placed down earlier. We want to make sure they look attached, so you just want to get them nice and close. And then with the first board in place, the other one just snaps to it, and then we can use place everywhere to just inch it back. Don't want it to stick out of the front too much. That looks pretty good. Nice. Now to support this one corner that's hanging off the ground, we're going to take one of the posts from the fence tab for the wire fences, and we're just going to go ahead and glitch that into place, similar to the shack column we put down earlier. We don't want it to poke through at all. And then just to close off this other side, we'll take one of these balcony railings and we'll just go ahead and glitch that into the post. Now to finish off this wall, we're going to use the same technique we used to build the fisherman's home 2 videos ago, and we're going to take some of these wooden planks from CVC's Dead Wasteland. That's a great mod, by the way. A ton of stuff added to the workshop menu. And the idea here is we're going to place them up against the shack columns, and you want to leave a little bit of a gap just so it looks a little bit more, junky. Now we're going to need a way to get inside of the container. So we're going to go ahead and take some of these wooden boards, and we're just going to use place everywhere to change the angle, just so we can get them nice and flat and make a little bit of a bridge. And then we want to place it up against the shipping container, but we don't want it to glitch through the floor at all. We do need it to make contact. That looks pretty good. Nice. To complete the doorway, we're going to go ahead and take one of these half shack walls, and we're just going to go ahead and glitch that into place against the container here. And mixing the wood and the metal really adds to the junkiness. Time to create yet another wall, and we're going to go back to CVC's Dead Wasteland and take some more of these upright planks, and we're just going to put them up against the shipping container. And again, we want to leave pretty good sized gaps in between what we're putting down here, just so it enhances the junky look of the place. So we're just going to put a few planks down, and then we'll fill in the rest with some other materials. Just a matter of lining it up so it's not clipping through the roof there. With all the wooden boards in place, we can now take some of this wire fence, and we just want to glitch that behind the wooden planks there, just to vary up the texture and kind of make it so you can still see through, but there's a little bit of a barrier there. Now we can take some window boards, and we're going to do something similar. Place that up against the wooden boards we put down, and then use place everywhere to get it in the exact position we need. You can see there I have to slide it back just a little bit. And we want it to make contact so they look attached. And then we'll just drop it down a little bit. Nice. And now to close off this hole in the roof, we're going to go ahead and go back to CVC's Dead Wasteland and grab some more of these wooden planks. And we can use place everywhere to just change the angle so we can match the roof. And then we're going to go ahead and place it up against the shipping container, but we don't want it to clip through it all. We just want it to make it look like it's resting on top of the container. You can see there it takes a little bit of finagling, but I do eventually get it. And it's a little bit short, so we're going to go ahead and increase the size, and then we're just going to glitch it on into place. Well, with all the wooden planks in place, we can now put down some of the plyboards just to close off the ceiling. And again, we want them to glitch together, but we don't want them to clip through the ceiling at all. So we're just going to take a variety of boards and just put them on down. Now we'll just put one more board into place, and we should have a pretty good looking junky roof. Nice. For the final wall of the shipping container, we're going to utilize the same technique we used with the shack columns earlier, only this time we're going to use some of the fence posts. So you can see I increased the size of that first one, but we'll keep the second one a little bit smaller, just to have a little bit of variation. And now we'll add some wire fencing, just to make it more of a window than a wall, and we'll just raise that up a little bit, again, so it looks a little bit more haphazard. Now we can go ahead and take some of these plyboards, and we're going to go ahead and glitch that into the post there, just so we have a little bit more of a solid wall. We just want to make sure that it doesn't glitch all the way through to the shipping container. That's looking pretty good. Nice. Now we can go ahead and take another board here and just add a little extra support for the wall. And we just want to glitch that into the two posts and have it make contact with the plyboards there. Now to close off this little area underneath the shipping container, we're not going to build a full wall. Instead, we're going to utilize a technique I've used many times in several different builds. We're going to take a conduit and use that more as a curtain rod, I guess. And then we can find some of these tattered curtains. And we're just going to go ahead and glitch that on into the conduit there, just so it looks like they can at least close off the sleeping area. Now we can go ahead and build a little bit of a deck, and we can take these quarter floorboards and they just snap right to the container, and then we can just build it out from there. Now it's time to trim the deck back a little bit, and you can see here how the floorboards are glitching with some of these trees, so we can just slide and change the angles of some of the boards and then get rid of the extra ones. And anything left we can use place everywhere to just inch back, just so it's not clipping with any of the trees. Well, that's looking pretty good. Nice. Now to support this side of the deck, we're going to take one of these trucks that I've flipped over using place everywhere, and we're just going to go ahead and glitch that underneath the deck. But I don't want it to clip through it all, so you can see I'm just having to finagle with it just a little bit, but we do eventually get it into place. Now to close off this other side of the deck, we're just going to take one of these walls from the warehouse tab, and we just want to get it nice and close and glitched into the floorboards there. Now with the corrugated steel wall in place, we can take some of these shack columns and add a little bit of extra support. And again, same thing, we want to glitch them into the floorboards there, but we don't want them to clip through the top at all. And we also want to glitch it in with the wall we placed down so they look attached. And of course, back to Dead Wasteland, and we're going to go ahead and just place some of these boards up against those shack columns, just like we did earlier, just to make a nice makeshift wall. Now since we have the truck there, I'd like to have a little bit of a covered area, maybe a little workstation underneath the deck. And so we're going to take one of these wooden planks and we're just going to angle it using place everywhere, just so we can have a little makeshift roof hanging over the truck. And again, we want to get it so it glitches up against the truck. It's okay if it glitches through the floor there. We're going to cover that up with some plyboards. Just a few more finishing touches and we should be ready for the tour. We'll start with some of the railings here, and they just snap to the floorboards, and then we use place everywhere to just lower them down. We want to make sure it's not glitching through the floor at all. Now to make it look a little more junky, we're going to go ahead and place one of these railings here, and we can use place everywhere, just change the angle, almost so it looks like the deck was built and now it's kind of falling apart. And similar to how we did with the railing, we're going to do the same thing with some of these planks. We're just going to place them in the ground and then change the angle so it looks like they're falling apart. Of course, that one's sticking up a little too high, so let's lower that down. And now to finish off the deck, we're going to go ahead and take one of these planks, and we're just going to go ahead and glitch it into the deck there, just so it looks attached. Then we can add another one and just add it to the railing here, just to add a little bit of extra support and vary up the length and the texture a little bit too. And now to vary up the texture a little more and add a little bit of color, we're going to take one of these rusting panels from Dead Wasteland, and we're just going to glitch that behind those planks we placed down. And we can just get it in there just to change things up just a little bit. And that's looking pretty good. Move it out just a bit. Nice. So here we are at the main entrance to the structure. You can see there on the left side, there's a little bit of a junk pile there. Got some barrels. Looks like a water dispenser. Not very clean, these guys. Now heading inside, we can see their makeshift battery and some fuel, as well as some beer there laid out. Looks like some chems on the shelf and some tools. Oh, looks like that bear's been drinking pretty heavily. Better sleep it off, buddy. I really like the way that junk wall looks with the planks and the wire fence. Looks pretty good. Now coming around this side, we have a little bit of a work area. Now I imagine the person that lives in this structure is actually the weaponsmith, the armor smith that works inside the inner walls of Covenant here. But this is his own private workshop. Looks like some Raider power armor laid out that he's working on. And here is most of the armor that's complete. Gonna be pretty formidable once he gets that thing all assembled. And you can see that other junk wall we built there in the background. That's probably my favorite wall in this build. I really like piecing that kind of stuff together. I don't know. It just feels more rewarding. Now heading out to the deck, first thing you can see here is a construction light powered by one of those makeshift batteries. Lights up the road, and anyone walking towards the deck here will have a light shining in their eyes. Maybe whoever's sitting on the deck can get the jump on them. And then over here we have a couple of places set out at this table. Looks like a little game of solitaire, some comic books, a little bit of Psycho there as well, and plenty of food. Looks like these guys are doing pretty well for themselves. You can really tell that this guy works with weapons. He has the only shotgun turret, also powered by a makeshift battery there. And that brings us to a solar panel. Looks like they're using it to charge up a makeshift battery. That's pretty clever. I was wondering how they got the energy into those batteries that they use. So that's the upstairs. Let's walk around and check out a little bit of the exterior and see what's going on underneath the container. Walk out across that bridge. You get a nice view of the toll booth we built. And then of course coming around this way we have that fisherman's home. and that collapsed container. Hopefully this one holds up. Would hate for that thing to fall down with somebody sleeping underneath it. Now coming around this way, we get another view of that junk wall. Nice little open container, almost like a bay window. And over here we have some barrels for collecting rainwater. And here we have a nice little workshop. Now I figure the armorsmith that has his workshop in the container would have a secondary workshop down here for his assistant to pick through any salvage to find any tech that they might be able to use. And of course, some tools hanging up in the truck bed. Looks like that wall's falling apart there a little bit. Might have to do a little work on that. What do we have here? Don't know what's going on with all those mannequins underneath here. I'm not sure I want to know. Looks like this guy's got some psycho laid out. Even a couple of caps left over after buying his daily fix. Not bad. Not very private down there, but what are you going to do? Now let's take a look at the outer part of that deck. Oh, hello. Definitely a pack settlement. I'm really happy with the way the railings turned out here. You can see it has a very nice junky feel to it. I also curved the deck a bit. I didn't show that, but I just changed the angle of one of the floorboards. It kind of, I don't know, has a more organic look to it. Then you can see over here where the railings are all falling apart, you know, amongst the trees. I'm really happy with the way this one turned out. Well, if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like. Drop me a comment down below if you have any questions about this build, or I glossed over something you'd like a little bit more information on. Subscribe if you want to see when my next video goes live. We will be building outside of Covenant yet again, and then we'll move on into the interior, the video following that. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and until then, enjoy your time in the Commonwealth.